think Ms. Kulkarni has already joined.
Okay, good evening, friends. I am your host KK Gupta. I am a director of Association for Financial Advisor of India and also research in India. This is our under the series of the association. We are having 22nd webinar, which we have started from this financial year. Friends, you are aware that association was formed in 2021 with the sole aims to give education to our members, to the bankers, to the entrepreneurs for day to day financial aspects, and also educate the SME sector how to avail a financial assistance from the banking sector, because SME sector is playing very vital role in the development of the economy. Either we talk about the GDP, export, employment, even the participation in the industrial productions, because still there is wide gap for financing or the requirement of the SME sector. It is said, as per the data available with us, there is gap of 25.27% of the total lendings. It means about 232 billion rupees are required for the SME sectors. When we are talking about the number of the SME, the micro is also playing very important role under the SME sector. Lekin they could not aware how to approach the bank, how to take a loan. Even now, the government, Reserve Bank of India, come out co-lending concept to the NBFC. I think with the introduction of the co-lending, the gap, what we are talking about the credit gap, will going to reduce. There are so many transformations, so many introduction new scheme by introduced by the Reserve Bank of India. Either we talk about the make in India, stand up India, digital India, clean India, startup India, skill India, ease to doing business, and rise of India. You know that ease of doing business, our ranking has increased. When we are talking about ranking of 2014, now we are talking about 22. It will come to about 73 out of 198 countries. So beside that, either we are talking about the digital transformations, increased number of lending platforms, registering through GSTN, funding of funds introduced. Beside that, the important aspect which the under the Atmanirbhar Bharat, where sufficient funds was kept to achieve the goal of taking 25 trillion economy within a period of 5 years. And we are talking about 2 or 3 years already gone. So by 2025, 5 trillion economy where the SME sector can play very important role, encouraging entrepreneurs by holding this type of workshop, even by education. I think the SME sector is also coming up. So now, why we are holding this today webinar? We called all the eminent speakers here who are well versed with the subject, mostly of chartered accountant, and my friends who look after the SME sector in one of the nationalized bank who has great experience, personal experience. We are going to talk our personal experience in this respect. Now we are talking today, the subject is alternative funding option for SME sector. When we are talking of alternative funding, so there are traditional fundings. You can say that is assets based lending or balance sheet based lending, which is taking place, and the banker was the major aspect who are providing the such fundings. There are so many alternatives beside the banker. Either we are talking about the leasing, and we are talking about the franchising, we are talking about the factoring, we are talking about the forfeiting, peer-to-peer lending, hire purchase, angel finance, we are talking about the covered finance, we are mostly talking about the venture capitals, and we are also taking the private equity. Beside that, now two exchanges come into existence, where IPO is also playing very important role for the SME sector. Separate exchange was constituted that we are going to discuss. I will not take much time. Whatever the agenda item we formed, which we are going to discuss, challenging SME sector, face in raising funds from the alternative investment channels. What are the channels and what are the difficulty in which agent they are taking about? What is the expectation from the private equity or venture capital? SRA fund, I think this is the most important fund which introduced benefiting and empowering SME sectors. We are also talking about the IPOs, investor concern while evaluating the fund requirement of SME sector, getting best out of the traditional source of financing which we have talked about for the banking sector or bond market, and we are talking about the IPOs also. So first of all, I want to invite Shri Babu, SM, who is chartered accountant, LLB, DISA, ACMS, ACS. He is a member of Institute of Chartered Accountants, Institute of Cost Accountant, Institute of Company Secretary of India. Started his career with CAMS, Chartered Accountant, and audited in December 1997. Under the guidance and supervision, he completed CA in November 2007. There are about 16 years he has completed before that. Practicing Chartered Accountant since January 08. And he is also associated with the SME sector. So, Mr. Babu, just I want to know from you, what are the challenges SME facing in raising the funds? Well, in all webinars, we are talking about the funds, we are now talking about the demand, we are now talking about the other infrastructure available. Because this is a major aspect for the any business. Finance is main requirement. So now, just I want to know from Mr. Babu, what are the
Yes.
challenges as per you this SME sector are facing in raising the funds? Mr. Babu. Hand over to Mr. Babu.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, Mr. Babu.
Good evening, everyone.
Yes, yes, sir. Please. Mr. Babu, unmute कर लीजिए आप ना.
Yeah.
Please, please.
Yeah.
Carry on, carry on.
Actually, when we talk about SME sector, we can talk a lot width and breadth. It has its own depthness and contribution towards the national development of our country. This is actually with respect to our subject today. Normally, we are not going at micro level. We are going to discuss in a macro level, what are the challenges being faced by the SME sector. This is actually some information I have gathered through searching the materials in internet. Along with that, I will apply my own professional knowledges to enlighten to people who are all available in the seminar. This is actually 3 slides I want to show how much the expectation from the SME sector towards the country development. First of all, the revised definition we need to see MSME sector is actually largely they have enhanced the limit. They have brought in composite criteria, investment as well as annual turnover, and they have clubbed manufacturing and services also into only one category. This all we know. Since we have a glance of this slide, we can go ahead with another slide, which will be revealing the importance of SME sector for the development of our country. Activity category wise, this slide is extracted from our annual report MSME 2021-22. Manufacturing sector contributes 31% of total number of SME sector, and electricity, that is non-captive electricity generation and transmission, it's around 0.03 number of units in 0.03 lakhs units in SME sector, and trading activity, it is around contributes 36%. Other services comes around 33%, totaling 100%. Then this statement shows the estimated employment in the MSME sector activity wise. Here also you can see before a decade that employment generation was disproportionate due to the proactive measurement taken by our present government. This disproportionate ratio is getting reduced. We can see that estimated employment generation around 32% for manufacturing industry, trading activity 35%, other services activity 33%. And then this is actually estimated production and sales from the reported information from village industries. There we could see even during the pandemic, this MSME sector has played its role in its own unique way towards the contribution for the development of our country. Now, at macro level, we are going to see what are the constraints or difficulty faced by our MSME sector entrepreneurs, which we basically classify into just 3 or 4, which you would be seeing in this screen. Poor or non-availability of loan finance. This is one and almost very important. And then second one, low levels of technology application. And then third, inadequate physical and economic infrastructure. And finally, we will look into the policy matter, which is truncated policy of product preservation. We will see in detail one by one. Finance is, we are all finance professional. Probably we would know the lifeblood of any enterprises is finance. But Indian MSME have always suffered from the deficiency of this lifeblood. Just imagine how much important in this sector for the development of our country, and even life sustenance has been taken care of the MSME sector because it's spread over across the country. But even it provides a lot of contribution for the development of our country, quantitatively, qualitatively, monetarily. As Sir said, GDP contribution, it comes around 31 to 35% from the MSME sector. Despite we have most extensive banking network in the world, still our MSME sector suffers from the blood shortage for enterprises, that is finance. Then another, while we talk about the finance sourcing problem, because we all know our banking sector is regulated by RBI, which will be advised by so many experts and panelists. They will be considering number of parameters for assessing the stability and viability of the enterprises. Say for example, these are all the model parameters that they have been applying for assessing the MSME entrepreneurs for providing loan. Just like in management side, track record, they want experience of the entrepreneur, they want professionalism, how far they have applied professionalism in management of the company, that they want to know. Then succession planning, they are also interested to know what is the success planning for the MSME entrepreneurs. And group support, constitution plays here a vital role. As we know, more than 90% of the MSME sector are under sole proprietorship or partnership form. They have not come up for a regular compliances area. So this is one of the major setback for getting financial assistance from the banking sector. As we say, it's a regular channel of sourcing of fund for the MSME sector. Then when we talk about business criteria, the bankers want to know the cluster presence of the MSME and product diversification. They want to know what are the value additions that they are going to provide to the public, that they want to know. And product certification, of course, as we know, number of certifications have come into picture. Now, so many quality certifications are required to be a successful entrepreneur, especially in the manufacturing and servicing sector. And RM fluctuation, forex fluctuation, size of operations, geographical reach, customer supply dealing and diversification. These are the aspects mainly that the bankers would see before financing the MSME sector. Then when we talk about the industry level assessment, the level of competition they would like to know, and regulatory issues, how far they have been complying with the regulatory requirements. These are all the things they want to know. Then threat of substitutes. Especially in the MSME sector, anybody can start a fresh MSME, can be a threat to the existing MSME. So these are all the aspects they will be looking into, why we consider industry level of assessment. Then financial, this I think no need to go in depth. Growth in operational income, profit after tax, these are all we know, these are all very important. Of course, these are all important for assessing the viability of the unit based on the past record. And then performance of MSME sector are far some extent depend on the physical and economical infrastructure of the MSME. Wherever it is there, they need to use physical and economic infrastructure for the development of their unit. And despite knowing the importance of the infrastructure for the performance, it remains a neglected area. Why it is neglected? If we go in depth, we would be surprising that entrepreneur would like to remain where he is. He wanted to run MSME sector to a particular level. He wants to sustain in that level. But that's enough for him as a sole proprietor or partnership level. But if they grow as a corporate, then there will be some inducing factors, some encouraging factors to go and develop their business level to further upgradation and all. But as of now, we could observe in many places, MSME sector are always wanted to be in a sustainable area and sustainable level. They don't want to grow any further more, which has to be seriously looked into. And then this one is actually now the government has started reservation of the items which have to be manufactured by the MSME sector, which is welcome move from our present government. So this product reservation has to be enlarged for number of products so that MSME sector will come into picture in the manufacturing industry as well as allied service industries also. These are all the restraints or constraints under which the MSME sector are being operative now. Apart, when we talk about the constraints, these are all the constraints at macro level. And when we talk about financial aspects, many MSME sector actually utilizing non-conventional way of financing, because formal way of getting finance from the bankers, it's a very difficult process since they have been adopted for regular way of operations. So many things would be assessed. Most of the times, MSME sector are being discouraged for financing from the banking sector due to the constraints or parameters which we have discussed a little earlier, which will not permit bankers to finance the MSME sector. So they will go for unconventional alternative way of financing for promoting to raise fund for one's business, and offers also in this alternative funding also there are a range of options available for them to choose from. One of those unconventional or alternative funding nowadays started in the market, which are all the facilities available in the market. A few of them I cover now. Factoring to tackle delayed realization of receivable. This is an arrangement that helps an enterprise to tackle the problem of delayed realization of receivables by institutionally factoring their receivables and thus providing alternative source of financing. And another one, as in introductory parts are said, we will be talking about SME exchange. This is also another alternative funding options which our government has promoted a few years ago. Now it performs very well. And this is actually unique and very restricted source of fund from angel funds. Alternative we can call venture capital funds. Is an alternative source of financing generally used by high growth potential and startup MSME. Here we need to note high growth potential and startup MSMEs, which is highly professionalism followed entities can get this source of fund, which is also we can say it's also a constraint for our MSME sector to get developed into further level. The enterprise opts for such kind of financing when it needs funds to expand or break into new markets and grow faster, which is the core expectation from the venture capital investors. And there is a study undertaken in 2016, I think so, IFC, that they have conducted a study in India. How far we need to meet the debt requirement of our MSME sector. This, I think, it is appropriate to discuss further. So far, whatever our moderator asked, that I have explained at macro level, what are the constraints under which MSME sector is operating now. I hand over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Babu. I think you have covered very nicely regarding the definition. What we have also told definitions. And what a technology infrastructure you are also talking about, where the product reservation you are also talking about, which is the most important issue is rating, which you have touched, and a partnership and proprietor which are facing some problem. I think problem sides are you have touched very nicely. You also mentioned about the venture capital, angel capitals, where people are coming. So have any views, sir, for what they are expecting? Because all the venture capitalists who are investors, who are putting that money, even under the COVID scheme, they are putting the money. They are expecting very high return.
Yeah, of course.
And what is their expectations and the return market, and what is the team backgrounds, etc. What are you feeling for that? What is their expectation for the investors?
Yes. We go ahead with the further subsequent slides. As we see here, the financing gap is there for MSME sector. Few slides only for informational purpose we can refer, and while we see the slides, we would feel the importance of MSME sector for more funds that we would come to know. See, overall debt demand from MSME sector in India, actually MSME sector enterprises are all not registered, but there are unregistered enterprises also there. So among this estimate, they have classified addressable debt demand of registered and unregistered enterprises. We could see how far they have covered as addressable. It's comparatively 50% unregistered, and the debt demand is 100%. But when you see addressable, we could address only 50% of the total requirement. And in next, we could see formal sources is only almost 11%. Informal sources, MSME sector relying on around 59%. There is a gap of us in introductory parts are set around 40% something total gap of funding. This slide shows the same thing. Here it comes around 30 something. So from informal debt financing, this is actually, it's a surprise to see chit funds are coming to finance MSME sector. It's not actually MSME sector, they have not actually financed directly. The entrepreneur would have registered chit funds and they would be utilizing the fund to the unit. In such a way, they are managing. It's which is comes around 0.2%. Other informal supplies like a loan from friends, relatives, and other thing comes around 58.4%. And formal debt supply to the MSME sector, we could say banking institution covers 9.4 and non-banking and government institution supplies 1.5%.
So my only point was, what is the expectation by the investor? If you can say something on that aspect, because the data is available, because we are in this webinar, we are talking about the practicability or practical experience. And what do you feel, what the investor expects from the SME sector before investing in the venture capital or angel capital, as you have already mentioned? What is their expectation? If you have something,
yes. With respect to MSME sector, alternate funding is getting a trend nowadays, under which I would like to enlighten with respect to these fintech lenders can broadly be categorized in 5 distinct archetypes. This is model by which nowadays they started funding to the MSME sector. This is funding can be classified into 5 broad categories: marketplace lending, balance sheet lending, market hybrid model, invoice lending, and supply chain finance.
Sorry,
yes, I'm going quick through.
Sorry, Mr. Babuji. Instead of, because we have a short of time, instead of saying also, I think only 1 or 2 points.
I have come to the point, sir. I have come to the point. Venture.
What is the expectation of the investor?
Venture capital institutions actually fill the gap from the sources of funds with the investor to the borrowers. This is actually basic thing. They would be expecting high returns due to the risk involved in the process. So their expectation here, we can see this is the actual figure. When you compare all the type of financing, venture capital expectation is high. Say for example, for 25 years, they would be expecting 31%. So their expectation is so high. Angel investor understand the startups have high risk of failure. So ultimately, an angel investors need to feel confident that the potential upside rewards from investing are worth the downside risk. So here they would be looking into due diligence aspects before they invest in a startup or MSME sector. These are the broad headline I have given, that angel investor need to be seen to whom we need to approach, and some investors may invest in company located near to them. Some investors will look into the industry in which the MSME sector is functioning, and they would be expecting 15 to 20 page investor pitch deck. Is nothing but executive summary about the fund requirement and how would they achieve the result that angel investors would be expecting from them. And then,
Mr. Babuji, I will come back to you, because major aspect what we are talking about, the risk factor. Because for a startup, that is maximum risk factor is there. Even the investor are providing the loan without having any collateral security, looking into their experience or looking to their project and the feasibility of the project. So all the investors are giving a finance. Because the risk factor is too much high, they are also asking for a heavy return for that. From the side, this is a major expectation from the investor side. And they are also seeing the team built up. What is the team? They are built up by the startup so that they can lend the money to these people. Babuji, thank you very much. I will come back to you. Now I'm coming to Sri Rahul. Rahul sir, Rahul
Yes, sir.
Dudeja.
Yes, sir.
He's a managing director, Dudeja Financial Consultants Private Limited, Raipur and Chhattisgarh. He was faculty also. He was owner of the security, Dudeja Security and Commodity, Raipur. He is having a skill, computer professional, active listener, attendance to the detailed problem resolutions, critical thinker, leadership skill, influential, motivator, visionary, and humility and customer service. I think he is the right person to talk about the IPOs. Rahul sir, that's why I'm asking you to the IPO, what are the key considerations for coming to IPOs and what are the opportunity for the IPOs? Because if IPOs, our SME sector are coming, they are very useful, sir. How it is useful? Because they not give a high return as we are talking about the venture capital or we are talking about any other alternative funds where return we have to specify the returns. Like when we are talking about the equity, I think it depends upon the profitability and dividend to be declared. And private investor or other people are investing in that aspect. Have you any expectation from you, sir? IPO key considerations and
Uh,
opportunity. Rahul.
Uh, yes, sir. Thank you. Sir, past 1 year, the SME IPO section has given 8.6% return, basically. And likewise, Babu sir said that NSC and BSC has their specific platform for SMEs, NSC SME and BSC SME. Now, when you talk about an IPO, the most reputed thing for a company is to get listed on a stock exchange. And stock exchanges are a very good source of equity. But since the platform of BSC, MSME, and NSC SME is different from the regular platform, very less investors are known to it. So that is why the price discovery is not much there in that segment, in that section. And secondly, I would say one thing that SMEs, one of the best source of funds for SMEs to go beyond and to become the next Reliance and HDFC is getting listed and through an IPO, because once the company gets listed on the stock exchange, they are compliant to various rules and regulations. They have their data is available in the public domain to all the institutional investors, mutual fund houses, debt houses, and that is why there are a lot of spaces available for the companies to raise funds. And because their data is open to the public, the company enjoys a lot of trust among the investors. And it is not a big challenge for the companies to get listed. They have to hire professionals so that they can comply with the various rules and regulations of the listing requirement. But one important point is that the SMEs are involved slightly in the certain tricks of pricing when they compare it to the market, like underbilling or those things. They have to leave it, because when you come up to listing, your financial statement should be true and fair. That is the important lesson which the SME should take up, that their financial statements and the corporate governance issues should be met, so that there will always be investors available to them, because investors are also ready to invest in good companies. They are also searching for good destinations, and SME IPO is a very good step by the government. I really appreciate it. And slightly 2 or 3 things, conditions are there, like 1.5 crores of fixed asset is required minimum to get listed, and 3 years of track record. Even if you are a partnership firm, 3 years of in total track record, and you should be a bit profitable. And after SME IPO, your capital should not be more than 25 crores. So these are very small things, and easily the MSMEs can get into this section and raise funds, and they will be enjoying a good reputation.
Mr. Rahul, you're talking about the return on the capital was 8.6% we're talking about.
Yes, sir.
And if the return is about 9%, I think it is a better, because the appreciation of the share value must also be there. That
Yes.
means, beside that, you are talking about the returns. So I am just talking to you because this scheme is very good and two exchanges are giving total facility to them. Why it is not picking up? Have any reason for that, sir?
So basically, you can say a lot of investors, first of all, do not know that there is a separate exchange for MSMEs, SMEs, right? BSC, NSC, and SMEs. And I would like to take an example that today in Raipur, you have 7 to 8 companies listed. but there is one big company named Godavari Ispat and Power that is known because that is listed on the BSE and NSE larger level. But other 5-6 companies are listed on SME. So mainly the SMEs, they belong to which state or region, it is well known there rather than all over India. That is why there is less number of investors to that company, and that is why there is under discovery of price. When more and more investors come in, they will understand the value, and then there will be a good price discovery.
Rahul, you are also dealing with the security and commodities.
Yes, sir.
So you feel that the bond market, why is not picking up for the SME sector?
Sir, disclosure requirement and corporate governance issues are some there because of that, because SMEs are not so much compliant to corporate governance, and slowly they are picking up, they are working, and the companies, those who are complying well, their financial statements are good, they are getting exposure because there's good amount of liquidity in the market. There's no such issue that there is problem in the market, that is no money or there's less amount of money. Money is educated there, but the investors search for good papers, good companies.
Then, Babu sir, we are talking about the venture capital.
Yeah.
So, what do you feel that an investor who is investing in a startup or for a venture capital, what is their expectation of the investor?
So basically, if you say for a venture capital expectations, the venture capital would definitely look into two aspects. First of all, the business model, and second is corporate governance.
Good.
Business model, basically, where it is rightly said in venture capital language that if you can explain your business model in one line, then your business is very smooth because you know every aspect of your business. And second thing, the corporate governance issue which I told about, there is no specific corporate governance standard prescribed for MSMEs. But from my side, I would say that there are four basic issues, four basic corporate governance which every SME should follow. The first thing will be MSMEs are usually one-man army or a family business where 2 or 3 people are mainly looking into that. But when a VC comes in, he wants specifically that all the roles and responsibilities in the organization should be defined. The board of directors should be a diversified board where there should be at least 1 or 2 independent directors even whose opinion should be taken. And VCs usually take 2 board members seat when they invest in a company. So diversification of a board is most important thing. Second, risk management policy of the company should be well defined in the functional, financial, operational risk, what is there. Third, which I talk about is government compliancing, not only this TDS or GST, but various rules and regulations in which the company is working. Like not only these taxation, but every sector has its other policies defined by the government, like environmental or others. One should follow that. And the fourth and the most important, which I prefer, is internal audit. Basically, when a company has a good internal control system and there is an internal audit in place, this gives the confidence to the VC that the company is strong, and the position of the MSME is also very strong in front of a VC, that the company is being professionally operated, despite being a family company, no problem in that. So these 4 points are most important thing, which gives a company a standing in front of a VC and makes a case fit for a VC to invest in a company.
Very nice, very nice. Rahul, one other question. You are dealing with the mutual funds also, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
To have any mutual fund can be helpful to the SME sector, in your view?
Sir, definitely mutual funds also invest in non-listed entities. And when I had talked about just a second before that, once a company gets listed on a SME exchange, it also becomes a fit case for the mutual funds also to get stakes in those companies. Because when mutual funds get stakes in these companies, they are also having a good, since the data of these companies are open into the public, there it is open in public domain, mutual funds can have an access to these companies' data and they can invest. Mutual funds also have a lot of cash now. They're also 10,000 crores per month is the SIP amount which is coming into mutual funds every month. So they are also searching for new companies because the more they are diversified, the better they are placed in the market. So definitely mutual funds are interested into the companies, but where there are good corporate disclosures. And secondly, since the mutual fund companies also are abided by SEBI for their disclosure requirement, So they definitely prefer those companies where there is transparency and corporate governance standards are maintained. I would like to add on one thing is like that. In 1992, Infosys came and listed. It was Narayan Gurumurthy ji who said, Narayan Murthy ji, who had upheld the best corporate standards, and today also his standards are taken up, and that is why they became Infosys. So any SME who wants to become the next Reliance or HDFC, we have to follow these corporate governance standards and the market practices, because every investor understands that there are depressions, there are high economic changes, volatilities, and if companies disclosure are well, there will be informed decision making, and definitely investors love transparency and honesty from the point of promoters.
Very nice, Rahul sir. Really, you are a very intelligent person. What I want to know from you, I think my listeners, all the members must be happy with your conversation. And you are knowledge. This is mutual fund. I think the first time we are talking about the mutual fund, how they can be helpful to the SME sector. I think this is a major aspects which you have touched about, and IPOs also you touch upon very nicely. I will come back to you, Mr. Rahul. Later on, I'm coming to Sri Chauhan Sawan, who is the ex-general manager SME sector, lending and fintech company of a leading nationalized bank. Enthusiastic general manager with 37 years of rich and varied banking and administrative experience, eager to contribute to the team's success through hard work and excellent organization skill, clear understanding of business and market, training in leadership development, motivated to learn, grow, and excel in the banking sector, with focus on cost optimizations, revenue earning, consistently saved cost while increasing profit. I think his Guru Mantra was how the SME sector can be increased during his tenure in the banking sector. So he played very important role even for the co-lending to the NBFC, and he is the architect for that. Mr. Sunil, that's I'm talking to you. SR funds. What are the SR funds? Which is benefiting covering the SME sector? This is my first question. Well,
Yeah.
because this is the important funds which can be benefited to the SME sector. I think people must be knowing. I am not pronouncing the exact name. So you just tell us SR, what ISR mean,
Uh,
and how it is benefited to SME sector. Mr. Chauhan.
Good evening to all. Thank you very much, sir, for nice introduction. Let me take this opportunity to wish all our viewers happy Ganesh Chaturthi and seek blessings of our Ganesha for welfare of all of you. As you have given, sir, the SRI. SRI means Self-Reliant India. That is Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Yes.
It is the government of India initiative taken to boost or to support the MSMEs. Now, how they can support these MSMEs? So, government of India, this is called a fund of funds. Government of India, that National Small Industries Corporation of India, is a subsidiary of government of India, under whose head this SRI fund has been come as uh, NSIC Venture Capital Funds of India. Now, what is the purpose of this venture capital or this SRI? SRI is to address the capital, seed capital, expansion capital, whatever the shortage are coming, they are being given by the government through this venture capital of India. There is called a mother fund, that is daughter fund. And daughter fund, because government of India cannot invest directly into the MSMEs. So they are giving the funds to this daughter. And we suppose if there is a 25 crore, then this SRI has to raise another 100 crores. That is 5 times of whatever the funds they will get from the market. And after all, they will invest to these various demands of the MSMEs. They will invest into it and boost them with their capital doses so they can expand their business as well. This SRI fund is available to MSMEs for a maximum period of 15 years. So you can imagine you do not have to worry about it. Is equivalent to capital, your own capital. So you do not have to worry about the refund in 3 years, 4 years, or five years period. Uh, then the management fees we charge to these MSMEs is hardly, it is a 2% for these whatever the funds they will get available. So these funds is first aimed by the government of India to resolve the capital crisis or financial crisis of the small micro enterprises, and so that after getting their doses or capital, they can enhance their uh, invest in their units, and they can grow faster. This is the main criteria or purpose of this SRI fund.
इसमें Mr. Sunil, you're talking about
Yes.
1:5. So if they are investing about 10,000 crore, I think they have kept a funds. Then
Yes,
it will go
10,006.
to, yes, then it will go to 50,000 crore.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So who will invest 5 times? Because once you are taken, suppose, grow 1 lakh rupees from them, 5 lakhs
Yeah.
should be there. So who is going to invest 5 lakhs?
Sir, there are certain matlab these daughter funds, they have to raise it from banks, national institutions, or any other open market. They can collect it and hand over the funds, because there are separate committees, assessment of requirement of MSMEs. The committee will assess it. Then after assessing, they will find out whether to sanction the proposal received from the MSME is a doable or not doable. After that, all the paper application will be provided to them. Then it will be put up before the sanctioning committee. Once the sanction committee is sanctioning that, then the MSME are having a time of 18 months. Of sanction is valid for 18 months. Up to which they can avail this fund made available to them.
That means it is a very cheaper fund available. What you're talking about is 2% or something like that, and longer period,
Yes.
15 years.
Period is longer, sir.
Yes,
15 months, 15 years.
15 years. I think it is
Yeah.
a very good funds.
Yeah.
Where the SME can avail. I think this is an important issue. Besides, we are talking about the subordinate debts, and we are talking about the equity infusion scheme under the SME sector, where
Yes,
the
sir.
government has put up so much money, though they can be linked with the IPOs or something like that, equity infusion scheme and subordinate debt scheme also available with them. So I
Yes, sir.
think, Sunilji, you have covered very nicely for this new scheme. What I am asking you are, yes, you served with the 37 year in the banking, important national bank. So what are you feeling is, what is the best traditional source of finance? How it can be utilized by the SME sector? Because we are talking about the traditional and alternative funds. So we are discussing alternative funds. So we must know what is the traditional finance. So what is the traditional finance as per you, sir?
Sir, traditional finance, which we have been doing the business or raising the MSME customers, their funds to the banking channel, in brief. So in banking channel, what happened is that we were earlier having collateral-based lending only. If you have a good collaterals, then there is no need, because you were not judged on any other matter. But if an entrepreneur is having collaterals, then the advance is made available. Now these collaterals are also of two types. One is that mortgage, and another is the security like machinery, stocks, debtors, purchase order, warehouse listing, all these types of finance against which we were giving the finance to them. Also, we were giving to them bank guarantees also to procure them their orders, and letter of credit also, pre-shipment, post-shipment finance. These are the normal finance which are available to these entrepreneurs. But what happened to is that in spite of that, by bankers or MSMEs, they are having different type of pages. They start at startup stage, they are growing, but once they start for growing, they felt a pinch of getting additional capital for them. But already they have exhausted their mortgage or collateral securities, and they are in need of finance. Under that circumstances, banks were not providing to them any additional finance. So to come up with this, now the new ideas are coming up. So it is not necessary to go to them only for the banking with collateral securities. The government of India has also taken many measures to support the MSMEs, where you can find without collateral advances also. For example, PM Pradhan Mantri Mudra Rozgar Yojana. Definitely, it is applicable to up to 10 lakhs only. But then there are certain GCGT SME or a Stand Up India, which is which is applicable to up to 10 lakhs to 1 crore. CGT SME coverage is available where you have to entrepreneur do not have to give any collateral security up to 200 lakhs of the business. Just rightly, one of the have find out that microfinance, that is micro enterprises constitute 95% of the total. And what are their requirement? Their requirement are not more than 2 lakhs, 200 lakhs, that is 2 crores. Because 95, 6 lakhs, 95 means a big sum. So in banking terms, what we call, if anyone gets 1:4 capital assistance, that is, if 1 lakh is their support, we can give 4 to 5 lakhs to a business to them or loan to them. So under this CGT SME, if there is a 2 crores available, the entrepreneur can have a 8 to 9 lakhs to 10 crores to turnover. So I think this size of banking finance is now coming up, which whoever entrepreneurs or CGT, MSME entrepreneurs should know what are the different type of schemes available. They have to just go and log on to MSME industry or Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Industry Ministry. They will get all these type of facilities available to them. Unless our MSME entrepreneurs are know what are the schemes available to suit their various type of products or various type of growth. आपका initial stage है, that is startup है, then sustainable growth है, then you want to expand. So such type of schemes are available. Then PMEGP scheme, which is only for new business entrepreneurs, which is available. And in this PMEGP scheme, 15 to 35% subsidy is also available. And it is available for manufacturing up to 25 lakhs and services up to 10 lakhs. I think these are the some initiatives or traditional. These are also available with banking also. Because what I said, that there are banking finances available based on mortgage of securities or asset-based finance, whereas all what I have discussed, this new scheme, by how banks are evolving and adopting new methods for the technology with the same banking parameters. But the now main problem is coming here, or main issue is that this is the digital disruption. Digital disruption is happening. Banks are picking up digital disruptions because, as you know, that India is one of the first country in the world to have a maximum digital transactions. 48 billion transactions are digitally done. And our second one is China, which is around 18 to 20 billion transactions per month. So considering that, the data is now not only your paper profit and loss balance sheet, but data can be taken up from your utility bills also. How much you are paying for your electricity, how much you are paying for your phone, how much you are marketing, Amazon, kahan se kahan kya kar raha hai. Because a smartphone is playing a vital role getting the digital data. So banks are also moving up, and they are also tying up with some fintech company or NBFC, new generation NBFC, where digitization is there. And along with that, I would like to, sir, point out one PSB loan in 59 minutes. That also very popular. Up to 5 crores of loan proposals are assessed and sanctioned in a maximum, where you do not have to go physically to get your approval. So such types of banks or industries are taking up measures to support the government of India in their efforts that we should be a 5 trillion country. And this type of digitalization, as I told you, disruption, 47% of MSMEs are now going online with their payment system, payments or online sales, business processes. And during the last 3 years, that you can say that after COVID, that data collection, which was very costly, now since data is already digitalization due to their ITR, GST, then utility payments, etc., it is easily available at digitally. Also, these account aggregators are coming up. that whatever the data we are having, that everything will be available at account aggregators. How much deposits you are having, how many shares you are having, how many mutual funds investment you are having. Everything will come to the how many loans you are having, how you are defaulted to your electricity bill, government taxes, dues, etc. So not only the papers are important, but without papers now we are moving and getting all the access data, which sometimes the customer was not able to give us. But with this digitalization, the processing is become faster, sir.
Very nice, Sunil. I think you are covered very nicely. One point, one question
Yeah,
is also there. For question on my side is also there.
yeah.
So you see that why having the investment in plant and machinery of 50 crore rupees
Hmm.
and turnover over 250 crore rupees, definition has undergo a change. So it has affected some macro people also because the bank has some lending, you can say target for that under the SME property sector. While changing the definition, definitely bank are more comfortable to classify all the account as a SME sector. So it is not a neglection of the micro. What do you feel as a banker?
Sir, in spite, I will not say that it is a neglection, because if you see that micro enterprises turnover has been kept at 5 crores, and investment is kept less than 25 lakhs for manufacturing,
Sir,
and services also for micro enterprises it is kept as 5 crores and investment less than 10 lakhs rupees. So I don't think that government has neglected or any banking industry has neglected.
agree.
uh,
Actually, that is a proper reply. It has not been neglected. Somebody asked this question. That's why I'm asking
yeah.
you. Because that has been not been neglected, or you can say it is an open platform, and banks are ready to finance anything. Another question that how to put a interest because in SME sector, some repo rate link, I think interest rate is fixed. So you can tell something about the fixation of the interest rate to the SME sector.
Sir, now the another that I forget to discuss, that trades has been come, e-trades, that whatever the bills are there, the bills are getting discounted. And
Okay.
here wonderful example is that purchaser, buyer, and of course bankers are there. There should be on e-trade platform where
Right.
the buyer who put up his uphold his once he become a member of these platforms, he uphold his bills, which is accepted by the supplier. And once he is uploaded, it is available to many banks. And the rate of interest is very competitive, because whenever borrower think that any bank is give what rate quotes are being quoted by the bankers, even to a small MSME vendor, MSME entrepreneur. So interest rates are also competitive. And one thing is that you have said that earlier our rate of interest was very fixed. Once it is fixed, it is very difficult. But now it is a market driven. As soon as the bank rate or change, accordingly that interest rates are also going changing up. So it is not. It is now more transparent, and it is available how we are fixing. Bankers are fixing the rate of interest. It is available to their domain side also, how they have gone calculating and how they are applying the rate of interest to various industries and all these things, sir.
All transparency there for putting any interest, all the transparency is there.
Yes, sir.
Even
Digitalization means transparency, sir.
transparency. I will come back to Sunil again. So I'm
Yes,
coming
sir.
to see CA Vishal Kulkarni. Kulkarni sir is a followed chartered accountant. He practiced since last 12 years. Prior to coming to the practice, Mr. Kulkarni has served as Assistant Vice President Business Analyst in ICICI Lombard, Bombay for about almost 5 years. He is practicing chartered accountant and mainly work on SME sector and startup business coming from the various bank and offer advisory service for availing the central and state government recognized financial subsidies and incentive for 12 years. I think he's the main person to talk about the subsidy, how a subsidy can be availed from the government, and what are the scheme available with the government to have a subsidy, something like that. I think, Mr. Kulkarni, I think you can give some light on that. How you can advise our SME sector how to how the government has supported them and what are the subsidy available to this system. even there is some, what I feel, it is backward district or non-backward district, or a metro or urban areas. I think this is a major aspect. When an entrepreneur setting up in Bombay, suppose, or in Delhi, whether he can get a subsidy. When he is putting on a backward district, so he is getting subsidy for that. So please give your views, Mr. Kulkarni.
Sure, Gupta sir. Firstly, thank you for the nice introduction. And as most of the experts in this platform has conveyed, finance is one of the challenges for what an MSME faces. So I here believe that non-availability of finance is one issue, but the major issue is non-awareness about the source of finance. There are a lot of sources of finance, but unfortunately, the MSME industry is not able to get to that source. So I would compliment Gupta sir and the forum. You are trying to bridge the gap between the finance and the MSMEs here. So as the topic of today is alternative funding option. So yes, most of the experts have said that there are funding options of SME, IPO, banks, government agencies are there. But I would say one of the key source of funding is our mother body is Government of India. So there are a lot of promotional schemes in terms of the finance which an MSME can get. So one of the experts said about the PMAGP loan. Yes, the limit of PMAGP loan has increased up to 50 lakh rupees. They are giving us the incentives. There are many more agencies like SIDBI. I would like to compliment your SIDBI. They have come up with an excellent two schemes. One is the ARISE, that is assistance to re-energize the capital investment by SMEs. Here, the SIDBI, the nodal agency of Government of India, is giving a support financial scheme for the sunrise sector. So what are the sunrise sector? So sunrise sectors are the upcoming sectors like chemical, specialty chemicals, pharma, IT domain industries. So these are the sectors which even government believes they are the generation next sectors. So under this scheme, they are providing funding up to 5 to 7 crore and only up to collateral of 25%, that too in form of FD. So again, here, the main agenda of government is to support the sunrise sector. The sunrise sectors comes from MSMEs, irrespective of the size of the investment. They have another product called Sthapan. So Sthapan is basically the thematic assistance purchase of new capital assets. So MSMEs, they might be purchasing machinery or equipment or infrastructure starting from 5 lakh to 50 crores. So under this Sthapan scheme, the government gives the financial support with a minimum collaterals. So SIDBI is doing the excellent job here. So apart from the direct finance, there are support schemes from the mother institution called NSIC, National Small Scale Industry Corporation. So they have a scheme, an incentive whereby the EMD and the deposit money which a MSME has to pay at the time of availing a tender is waived off. So again, they are trying to release the blockage of funds. So it's a kind of a funding. Again, they can provide you a raw material financial assistance up to 90 days. They can provide you a facility whereby NSIC will approach the banks or the funding institution to raise the funds for MSME. There are other financial support schemes from Central Government of India. One of the known and predominant scheme is under Pradhan Mantri Sampada Yojana, whereby Government of India is promoting the sunrise sector. One of the sunrise sector is food. So food includes the manufacturing, processing, backward as well as forward integration. So under this scheme, if any food industry is planning to set up a new manufacturing unit, end-to-end integrated unit, so they can provide you a subsidy up to 50%. Yes, up to 50%, up to 5 crores of funds what government will reimburse you. So that is a major subsidy in terms of the financial assistance what a government is giving. So money saved is money earned. So this money in turn, the capital investment which is coming back to the MSME is a very helpful fund for their work as a working capital for their operational requirements. So there are all these support schemes. I come from a land of an opportunity. I said I come from a Gujarat. So under the state government initiatives, there are a lot of subsidy schemes, starting from the reimbursement of the power subsidy. So the duty component of the electricity bill of an industry has been reimbursed up to 5 years. There is an even support scheme for the solar installation for captive consumptions. So if an MSME is installing a solar plant, so government is even giving you the minimized rate of subsidy, rate of interest. Now, a lot of us have heard about Vibrant Gujarat. Now, the states like Rajasthan, RECO, they are coming up with a lot of support schemes in terms of if like more and more concept is coming, make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat. So Atmanirbhar Bharat kab hoga? Jab there is a vocal for local. And vocal for local kab hoga? When there is an Atmanirbhar Bharat. So all the state forces are also helping to make in Rajasthan. make in UP. There are a lot of capital subsidies and incentives the state government is providing. So this, I believe, this is an alternative funding, because a lot of capital investment of MSMEs is coming back, and that is pushing their economy and helping them to bring their ROI much better.
Very nicely, Kulkarni sir, you told. You can tell something about the export subsidies. Have any view on that, Mr. Kulkarni?
Yeah, so I would say, because again, why government is promoting export? Because foreign fund is coming into foreign funds are coming in India. So government wants to build up a model whereby more and more revenue gets generated in India. So there are schemes of road tax whereby the duty component which one has to pay is being reimbursed. Even there is a reimbursement of, for example, if a MSME unit is purchasing or importing a machine. So today around 25 to 30% of their funds get blocked in terms of the import duty, including the GST. So for an MSME who's purchasing a machine worth rupees, for example, 1 crore for amount, in that 1 crore, if 25 to 30 lakh rupees is added as a duty, so it adds to the cost. So hota kya hai usse ki they get less competitive in market because their cost of production increases. So there is a scheme whereby if the MSME unit is importing a machine, and if they are going to manufacture and export the products outside India, so the duty component का जो अमाउंट है, फॉर एग्जांपल 25 लाख रुपीस, उसका मिनिमम आप अगर 6 टाइम्स आप अगर एक्सपोर्ट करते हो इन कमिंग 6 to 8 years, so entire import duty is waived off. So these are the kind of a financial support schemes which government is giving so as to release the funds for MSMEs.
So, Mr. Kulkarni, what you are talking about the GST and other, because it's the input and the cost will increase it. While you are having the export, because they will have to pay the GST first, and after export receivable receiving it, then they are getting a subsidy. It is not a something different.
No, so there are two
Once
ways.
they are 100% export unit is there, so definitely he has to export. So he has to pay first GST. That means their funds are blocked. Have any view on that?
So in terms of exports, there are two options of discharging the duty. One is under the LUT scheme. So letter of undertaking has to be submitted by an unit to the GST department, whereby they are giving an undertaking. The raw materials or the procurement which they are purchasing domestically, they have to pay duty on it. So the duty gets accumulated. So when they are exporting, so the end customer who's based in, for example, overseas, if he is sitting in Canada or UK or Germany, so he's not going to get the benefit of GST. So by giving a letter of undertaking, one can export without paying the GST, and one can claim the refund amount back for the duty what he has paid for the local procurement.
When he can get the refund?
From the GST department, sir.
No, when? When
He
the export
can see,
executed? When the
he can
export
claim on monthly basis. He can claim on monthly basis. He can claim on quarterly basis. He can claim half yearly basis.
My point is, once he purchased goods, he had to pay GST. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now he manufactured the goods and he exported.
Okay.
So when he manufactured the goods, whether he can claim the GST subsidy from the government?
Yes, so that's what my point is, sir. When I'm purchasing a material, raw material worth rupees 100, for example, I have to pay 18% GST.
Okay.
So my 18 rupees gets invested in my business.
Okay.
Now, when I'm going to export, so I'm going to export 100 plus 10 rupees, for example. I have a margin of 10 rupees.
Yes.
So what about that 18 rupees? Because I'm not collecting GST from my customer. My export customer is not going to pay me GST. So what about the 18 rupees? What is getting accumulated period by period, month on month?
Okay.
So once I export, so I have to give me I have to file the proof of export.
My point, Kulkarni, is that only once you executed the export, then you can claim the GST refund.
Yes.
So you are also expert in project financing for startup SME units.
Yes, sir.
Have any view for that?
So startups
discuss all startup. The startup getting a fund is very, very difficult because they have no collateral security with these people, and only project is there, or their, you can say, qualification is their experience. So have any view, Mr. Kulkarni?
Sure, sir. So basically the definition of startup under a DPIIT scheme, so Department of Promotion of Internal and Industry Trade. So the government knows in coming a decade, or I would say generations, is of India, because Indian have proved period by period, innovations can happen in India, and India is an innovative country. So what the government, one can understand the initiatives what government has taken under DPIIT scheme, wherein any startup. So what is the definition of startup under this scheme? Any industry, if they are manufacturing or providing service of any new product or a service which is either an innovative or a new development. Condition one, it has to be new product, it has to be innovative or a new develop, it can be a new process within the service. Second, it should have a probability of mass employment generation.
Okay.
So it should have a probability to generate and attract more and more employments because of its spread. And third, it should have an upscale model, whereby we can take an example of a Flipkart or Zomato or any new gen enterprise, whereby just by spreading their product and services pan India, it can outreach the scalability of the revenue, and in turn it can generate mass employment generation. So if these three conditions are satisfied, so there are a lot of benefits which a startup can get. So one of the benefit of startup is the funds of Fund India. Government of India has set aside 10,000 crores of funds under SIDBI, whereby once you get a recognized under the DPIIT scheme, one can approach the SIDBI so as to make his model much more commercial, to raise funds, and believe this is the funds what SIDBI is providing. It's a kind of a grant, it's a kind of a stake which the company, the SIDBI would take. So there is no fixed interest obligation from the very first day. Now, second, how to reach there? So government has also set aside a lot of incubation centers. Like one of the incubation centers is like IIM Ahmedabad. So there are multiple incubation centers spread across the Gujarat, across the India. So what these incubation centers will do is startup may not be only short of funds, but they may be short of resources, network, the synergies. So incubation centers will handhold them so that they reach the right vendor, they reach the right network. So that kind of hand-holding can happen by the incubation centers. They can upscale the model. Thirdly, one of the major benefits is again, money earned, money saved is money earned. There is a flat income tax benefit of 100% tax-free for 3 consecutive years in coming 10 years. So here the word says any 3 consecutive years in coming 10 years. Now most of the startups will be bleeding in the initial years. So there will be losses. So there is no question of taxation. But here again, government has given a window of 10 years. कि आने वाले 10 साल में any 3 consecutive years you can select, whereby you face that I am going to be much more profitable, net of setting off my previous year carry forward losses, my 100% profit can be tax free. So this is a kind of a support system and ecosystem what government of India is giving as an alternative source of fund, I believe. So these are the benefits of startups.
So once we are talking about the startup, how I can say I am a startup? How it can be recognized by the government or by the bankers? Have any view on that?
So yes, as I said, there are 3 primary conditions. The business model has to be innovative, it has to be upscalable, and it should be in probability of mass employment generation. If 3 conditions are satisfied, one can make directly an online application to get him or herself recognized under a startup. The primary condition is the company has to be either a private limited company, public limited company, or a registered LLP. Proprietorship and partnerships are not recognized. So one can make a pitch, a basic pitch of his or her product, about the product, how it is scalable, how it is innovative, how it can upscale. So one has to apply with the basic questions to answer, and he or she can get direct recognition from the body. So there can be initial clarification. They can ask for why you feel it is an innovative. See, just to give an example of innovative, we all use mobile. So today, a new mobile phone, we cannot say that it's an innovative, but yes, a new feature in our existing mobile can be an innovation.
Where registration is required online, you are talking about the online. It should be registered somewhere.
It has to be registered, sir. It has to be registered, and there is a helpline as well, support line as well from the MSME, from the DPIIT, whereby they can handhold you if you have any basic questions to understand how I can apply, how we can get the benefits. So first and foremost part comes of the registration. So once you are registered, then you are a recognized startup. Then you can get him or herself registered in the respective state body, incubation center. They can handhold you for the further upscale. They can handhold you to raise funds. They can handhold you to get the even income tax benefits. A fellow professional like us can help fellow professional agencies like Resurgent and all that, they know there are a lot of support schemes available from the government. The only thing is we need to connect the right dots. I always believe that.
Very nice. Yeah, just Kulkarni, last question from your side, because you are expert in a startup. A startup is going to an investor. They are putting some equity or something like that. And their expectation is about 3 years or 5 years they should go out and the return should be more than 20%. Whether there should be any checkup by the RBI or other people. The return they are asking about 20% and within 3 or 5 years they want to go out so they come in public or something like that. Have any suggestion on that?
So I would say that it's an open market, sir. Yes, we cannot restrict a startup, but we always suggest to our clients that when an investor has to come into picture, I would suggest there are a lot of support schemes as mentioned by our fellow experts in the forum. There are a lot of financial support from the recognized government bodies, bank institutions, funding institution. So we always say that the cheapest fund is the bank, because they are not interested in your property, they are not interested in your state. They are
Yes.
just interested कि आप ब्याज दो time पे and आपका पैसा हमारा पैसा लौटाओ. That's it.
What I am asking this question, Mr. Surinder S. Singhal, he asked this question that alternative lender used to be known as Mahajan, charging unheard of margin interest from a irritated borrowers. Has that pattern being continued by these alternative finances or any control from the RBI, etc.? I think you have given a proper reply to him because it is open market. Once they invest something, it's not a bank.
And one
They
should approach
have a control.
exactly, sir. One should approach agencies like SIDBI. One should approach agencies like DPIIT. They will handle you to the proper source of finance, sir.
Kulkarni, I enjoyed your topic. I really, you are expert under the startup and under the subsidy to be provided by Government of India. I think if possible, you should come out with some paper so that I can send to the members how the subsidy can be availed. I think this is a very important topic for that subsidy. And we also try to do something on the subsidy side because this is one of the alternative funds. That is which we never think in that line. Hi, Mr. Kulkarni, we are very thankful to you.
My pleasure, sir. My pleasure. Thank you for the
Really, you have done an excellent job for us, for our members. Lastly, I'm coming to Mr. Babu. Sir, lastly, have any advice to the members? Because more than 600 members are listening to you, beside the YouTube, other people are there. Have any advice, last advice to the entrepreneurs for alternative funding? Anything? Any want to say something, Mr. Babu?
Yes, sir. Actually, in alternative funding,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please.
yes.
Go ahead.
I'm just sharing.
आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रहा, Mr. Babu. We are not getting you.
Audible now, audible, sir.
Yes. You give a 1 point. I don't want this, man, because time is very short. Give one point advice to our members who are listening to you. What is your advice in 1 or 2 lines?
Actually, to develop a MSME sector, now venture capitals have come into the market. Now, the government has to set up a proper infrastructure to help venture capital investors to meet our MSME sector, to bridge the gap between the MSME sector as well as venture capital by democratization of the venture capital segment. This is what I would like to.
Thank you, Mr. Babu. Thank you very much. Now I am coming to Mr. Rahul. Rahul, sir.
Yes.
Have any views, sir? Have any advice to our members?
Sir, I would, for the SME sector, I would specifically say that scale your business model to an extent so that you can go ahead to SME exchanges, because SME exchanges are a bit flexible, and try to implement the best practices of corporate governance, as any venture capital fund or maybe a government fund or anybody will judge you on the basis of these things only. Try to maintain as much as transparency in your business as you can, because people, those who have made transparencies, are at heights, and that will take you a long way.
Thank you, Mr. Rahul. Thank you very much. Now, Mr. Kulkarni, have anything, any view, last point?
So concluding remarks, I would say that there is no shortage of funds for MSMEs. We just need to connect the right dots. The forum like AFI is giving a lot of information and education about the sources of funds. So MSME has to just approach the right source, I would say.
Kulkarni, you can help them by giving some write-up or something like that.
For sure,
A
sir.
subsidy available to backward district and non-backward district, even metro and something because people are not knowing to how to avail the subsidy. I
Sure,
think this is an important aspect which we are talking about.
sure, sir.
Now, lastly, I'm coming to Mr. Sunil. Sunil, you are available? Mr.
Yeah,
Sunil,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
have any last word to our listener because you are the main person of the banking sector. You can advise these people very well.
Sir, advances or finances to MSMEs are available even to the banking industry at a very low rate of interest. The question is, the MSME entrepreneurs should contact to the right person. They should take a guidance before going to apply for various loans, whether it is a bank loan, NBFC loan, private equity, or venture like that. Unless they know the product and which are the institutions they are making available finances to them. Once they are aware of it, various government things, various subsidies, various platforms, then they are, and it is available to them at a Google dot also. Whatever they want, they can ask, they can contact to their CA because every entrepreneur has to keep their CA and recording and all these things. Or professional institutions like our organization or any CA can help them to guide them properly.
Thank you very much. So just I for information of the member, to the banker and other entrepreneur who are listening to this webinar, that I'm requesting that they should be member of the associations who are formed for knowledge sharing because we are having a more than 400 member with us. So our form are available. We are not charging anything. Only your strength is required by the association so that we can approach any government or the Reserve Bank of India, even IBA, so that it can be recognized some way. That is request to you. This is other way the Research in India is hosting this type of webinar. So Research in India is a merchant banker and investment bankers also. We are conducting a technical economical viability study and we are arranging syndication of the loan. Besides that, we are doing valuations of the assets and enterprise value also. We are also in insolvency and we are giving a training to the bankers. That is our strength. So on that behalf, I am thankful to all the participants who have always obliged us and giving us so many good questions. And if any members or any bankers or any entrepreneur desire for any such type of webinar, so definitely the association and Research in India are conducting mostly every week on Thursday and Friday. We mostly will try to do it. So any interest of any subject, so you can tell us, so we will do something for they and we will call the eminent speakers. So today's speakers are very, very important speakers. I must appreciate all three chartered accountants. And they put their personal view for that. Sir Babuji, I'm thankful to you for giving your well thought. Sorry for that. You have put so many slides also. So because time constraint is there. Even it was for 1 hour, we have overstretched about 30 minutes also. So sorry, we cannot put all your slides, other things in a proper way. They can, what you're feeling or what is challenging, what you have told us, I think it is very extremely, we are very happy. And we are thankful to Mr. Rahul, who is with IPO. I think the challenge and opportunity, what he mentioned, I think it really used to be very useful for our the listeners, for the participants. And I am very thankful to Mr. Kulkarni. I think the subject matter which he touched, it is a common requirement of our entrepreneurs, all the members, because they are not aware how to avail the subsidy. Where he talking about the food subsidy, he can have a 50% subsidy available, which is also news for me because I was also not aware that 50% subsidy they can also claim. So I'm just thinking that the DIC, District Industry Center, are giving some subsidy or seed capital or seed money they are giving in that too in a backward district. to accept the export credit or a subsidy, I was not aware. Lekin still, it is very good subject. We will try that in other webinar we will call him. So we should discuss, we will interact with you, how our entrepreneurs can be benefited with your scheme. Lastly, I'm thankful to Mr. Sunil, who is my colleague in the banking sector. So I was also in that bank where Mr. Sunil retired, and he is the expert for the SME financing, and he is the architect for the co-lending in that bank for the NBFC. And his views are also well taken. Here talking about the interest, how the interest is set up, and how the traditional benefit credit is benefit to the entrepreneurs. I am thankful to Mr. Sunil for your well thought uh, discussion here. So I'm also thankful to you that whenever we require your services, you come and without any hesitation.
Definitely, sir. Definitely. Thank
That
you.
is, I'm thankful to him also. Lastly, I'm thankful to my the field person who is the main architect of this webinar. I'm thankful to Mr. Rohan. I think he always giving a coordination with all the speakers, with all the IT team, and Mr. Surinder, who is the director of the Association for Financial Advisor of India. He is also instrumental for this webinar today webinar because he drafted all the agenda item and he also fixed some speakers. So I'm thankful to Mr. Surinder. I'm thankful to the IT in charge, Mr. Joginder also, who is from Research in India and who is also helping us because we are not a technical expert. Like his advice, his all system to in a go proper place is very helpful to us. Thank you, Joginder. Thank you, Mr. Surinder. Thank you, Rohan. Thank you, all the eminent speakers. I'm really obliged with this word. I'm closing this session. The recording will be available on YouTube also if you want to see.
Thank you, sir.
It is available. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, sir. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you to all.
Thank you.